Have you been taught that selfishness is bad? And if you're like most people, you may even dislike those people who are selfish and try your best not to be selfish. I have seen this with pretty much every single client I ever worked with because they all are very heart-centered, kind, amazing human beings that I feel privileged to serve, and they all feel that selfishness is bad, and I had to retrain them into being selfish. But let me explain why and what this means. So in shifting and understanding what selfishness means could be a life-changing experience. Normally, we think that if we think of our own interest, we are going to be automatically taking advantage of others or putting others at disadvantage. What if, spiritually speaking, your best interest is always supportive of other people's best interest? And human mind may not see it right away, but let me give you an example. What we perceive as selfishness, let's say taking advantage of another. You have a big piece of a pie and you want to have the biggest piece, and you're selfish and you want to leave everybody else with nothing. And that is the motive that would drive a person into that kind of a behavior is actually limiting thinking, because they may think, well, they may not be enough for me, or I'm going to be left out. It's a fear, so I need to grab a bigger pie and hold on to it and not share with others, because if there's going to be no more. So it's the greed, it's the limitation that they're stuck in. So now if you think about this, surface level, it may seem like they're taking care of themselves and they're selfishly acting they're selfishly acting in their own advantage. However, is it really advantageous for them? Of course not, because they're acting out of limitation. What would be of real advantage to a person like that? To reconsider their limiting thinking, to realize that there are unlimited resources, and to be chilled about sharing the resources and knowing that more is always available. And then what kind of actions will be stemming from that kind of selfishness, right? Of course, sharing, because you know that there is more than enough. And on a human level, we would perceive it as maybe selfless behavior. But what I would like to propose here, that any behavior that we consider to be selfish, it's actually against oneself, because it's always rooted in some sort of fear. Let's say a person is trying to always talk about themselves, and they take all of the airtime and they don't let anybody else in the conversation to chime in. Are they being, on the way we perceive selfishness, yeah, they're kind of being selfish, but in reality they're deserving of themselves, because they're robbing themselves of opportunity to learn from others, right? They're really driven by significance. They want to have validation of their own importance, and really they do feel unimportant and insignificant. That's why they need to compensate with such behavior. So if you look at selfishness like that and you realize, well, if I'm selfish, that means that I'm serving my ultimate soulful agenda, and my ultimate soulful agenda is rooted in unconditional love, in abundance of resources, and kindness and compassion. Then it's perfectly okay to be selfish, because your best interest is always supportive of the best interest of others. And another encouragement I have is to expand the sense of self. What do you consider to be yourself? If it's just the human form in this teeny tiny lifetime, then of course we might start fighting for resources. But once you expand your sense of self into your multidimensional essence, and you realize that you are not only in this body, you also have spirit, you also have soul, you have oversoul, and you are also projected in different lifetimes and different incarnations. And then once you also realize that you are connected with all of life, that there is oneness, and you start cultivating that sense of oneness, then self, the sense of self is expanded to all there is. So don't be afraid to be selfish. Expand your sense of self. Then your ultimate selfishness is your ultimate service. I hope this is helpful. If so, please share this video and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you soon.